Dedication. For every child who's ever been told no, may you remember that God's call is bigger than any door that closes. And for all those who walk in the footsteps of Venerable Augustus Tolton today, your light still shines. Did you know the United States has a future saint who was born enslaved, became a priest, and changed history? His name was Augustus Tolton, and he didn't give up even when the world told him no. He believed that God loved him, that all people deserve dignity, and that every child should get the chance to follow their dreams. Today, people are still inspired by his life, and the Church calls him venerable, which means he's one step closer to being a saint. This is his story. Augustus Tolton was born on a hot spring day in Missouri in 1854. But there were no balloons or baby gifts, no family photos or lullabies. Because Augustus wasn't born in freedom, he was born into slavery. Slavery was an evil system where people were bought and sold like property and forced to work without pay. That meant Augustus, his big brother, and his parents weren't treated like people. They were treated like property, owned by another family, forced to work hard in the fields from sunup to sundown. His parents, Peter and Martha Jane Tolton, were strong in both body and spirit. Even though life was hard, they held on to something that gave them hope, their Catholic faith. One day, when Augustus was still a tiny baby, a priest came to visit the plantation. His parents asked for something very special, that their baby boy be baptized. Under slavery, families could be torn apart and sold at any time, parents separated from children, brothers from sisters. Peter and Martha knew they might not always be together, but they wanted to give Augustus something that could never be taken away. And so, with a few drops of water and a whispered prayer, Augustus was claimed by Christ and welcomed into the Church. He might have been born into slavery, but God had something greater planned for him, something bold, something brave. Even as a baby, Augustus had a quiet strength about him. His mother often held him close at night and whispered, "God has not forgotten us." On Sundays, if they weren't forced to work, his family would sneak into the woods to pray, far away from the overseers. They didn't have a church building, but they had faith, and that was enough. As he grew, Augustus began to notice things. The older children didn't go to school, no one was allowed to read, and no one ever talked about dreams or plans for the future. But deep down, Augustus started to feel something different. A spark, like a little light glowing in the darkness. A quiet voice inside him saying, "There is more than this." One night, when Augustus was still a young boy, that spark would be tested. The Civil War was raging across the country, and his mother, brave, determined, and tired of waiting, made a decision that would change everything. They were going to run. Run toward freedom. Run toward faith. Run toward the future God had promised. But for now, Augustus waited, not yet knowing what kind of priest, teacher, and hero he was destined to become. He only knew this: he was a child of God. And that meant he was never truly a slave.